With any creative hobby, it's super easy to stick to what we know. We spend so much time being a beginner at something that once you finally get the hang of it, it's so tempting to keep doing it because we know it works, right? The only problem is it's also super easy to get bored or tired of your work this way. So if you've been feeling a little bit fed up with painting the same kind of things in the same kind of style, and you haven't been seeing any real progress in your art, this is the video for you. We're going to chat about comfort zones and how staying stuck in them might be trapping your creativity right now. I'm going to share 3 questions that you can ask yourself whenever you feel like you're not moving forward with your art and you just need a little creativity boost. You can think about them or journal about them and see what comes up. And if you stick around until the end, I'll be sharing a free surprise with you as well. But first, let's chat about why it's so important that we stretch our comfort zone every once in a while. It doesn't matter if you're a complete beginner at watercolors or you've been painting since you've been a baby, everybody has a comfort zone. I've been painting professionally for a few years now, and I still have moments of self-doubt about my skills. When imposter syndrome kicks in, I honestly start questioning what I'm actually doing. And that makes total sense because our comfort zones don't really stay put in one place, they change and evolve as we do. Every time you move another step forward, you reach a whole new level with brand new challenges just waiting for you to overcome them. If you think about it, the techniques that feel easy and familiar to you today probably weren't so easy when you first picked up a paintbrush. At some point you decided to push yourself to try something new and it wasn't easy. So don't forget to celebrate that and feel proud of yourself for doing it. But even if you've picked up painting just for fun, there are going to be times when you feel like trying something completely new, flexing your creative muscle and seeing what else is out there. Maybe you're at that point right now. You've maybe always been painting landscapes and you want to try painting people, or you've only been doing realistic work and you want to explore more abstract pieces and just paint more loosely. Or maybe you've been feeling a bit uninspired lately and want to try out a new painting challenge. And even though it's outside your usual style, you've got to follow your curiosity, right? That's what's going to help you grow as a person and as an artist. It's like going to the gym. If you're always doing the same routine over and over, using the same weights and running the same distance, sure, you'll stay fit, but your progress will be a lot slower than somebody who is constantly challenging themselves to beat their personal best. And you'll probably get a bit bored of it too and lose that sense of motivation that keeps you going with it. With art, it's the exact same thing. Switching things up and challenging yourself from time to time to really just use different, more difficult techniques is going to help you grow your skills faster and see visible improvements in your painting. And you'll probably have a lot more fun with it because you'll get the satisfaction of watching yourself improve. The thing is, the second you decide to step outside your comfort zone, you're going to come across a lot of mindset challenges. Because whenever we try out something brand new, it's a shock to the system, to our brain, and our brain will just try to pull us back every time they notice that. Sometimes we don't even realize that we've been stuck in a comfort zone until we see a challenge we'd like to try or a painting we'd like to recreate, and we start spiraling down negative thought loops that pull us right back to where we started. Suddenly our brain is getting busy coming up with all these convincing stories about how we're not skilled enough or talented enough, or that people are going to judge us and we should just quit while we're ahead. It's almost guaranteed that some of these limiting beliefs will rise to the surface when you try to step outside your comfort zone. So you've got to be prepared to push through them and keep going. But I know that's easier said than done because you've probably been dealing with these critical thoughts for years. So next time they come up, here's the first question to ask yourself. What would my inner child do? Now, I know that might sound a bit strange at first, but when you think about it, the most creative years of our lives happen in early childhood. Some scientists believe that our creative potential actually peaks at age 5 because that's when we are trying out new ideas and innovating every single day, even if everything we invent has been invented before by someone else. We just keep doing it, or kept doing it. When you look back on your childhood, you might remember how exciting it was to learn something new every day. You were constantly having new experiences, meeting new people, and seeing new colors and shapes for the first time in your life, and you wanted to document it all in your drawings, right? You were constantly asking questions, you were curious about everything, and you acted out the most random scenarios through play. Well, I did it personally a lot of times. You were just doing your own thing without caring about the end result or what anybody else thought, right? But as you got older, you learned that you had to color inside the lines, you need to behave a certain way and follow the rules and learn the things that were told rather than the things you were curious about. So suddenly you weren't as open to trying new things. You started comparing yourself to others and just questioning yourself every step of the way. And one of the best ways to grow as an artist is to really peel back all of those layers of judgment and self-doubt and check back in with your inner child. And it's never too late to do that. I teach so many students who are in their 40s, 50s, and beyond, and all they want is to just rediscover their love for art and bring joy back into their lives after all this time. And what better way to do that than through painting, right? Trust me, this isn't the time to play things safe and follow all the rules. This is the time to play and have fun and follow your curiosity wherever it takes you. So think about it next time you want to try something new with your painting. What would your inner child do? Would they be worried about what other people might think? Or would they just jump right in and start playing? Would they worry that they were going to mess up and waste a sheet of paper and some paint? Or would they just enjoy all the pretty colors? It always feels a little silly to let your inner child guide you, but trust me, following that sense of curiosity feels so fun and freeing. Another question that might be helpful to ask yourself is, what is my purpose when it comes to painting? Personally, I've never fully subscribed to that cliche Pinterest quote idea that life begins at the end of your comfort zone. To some degree, yes, but I actually think there's nothing wrong with finding something you're good at and just sticking to it, especially when it comes to art. So many of my watercolor students pick up painting as a way to just step away from the challenges that life is throwing their way and create a space where they can just relax. Being able to sit down for a few minutes or even an hour and lose track of time painting a pretty landscape is exactly what they need at that moment. It's a really great way for them to just build up confidence in other areas of their life so they don't really feel the need to just always challenge themselves even more. Sometimes we can create these really high expectations for ourselves without checking in with ourselves to see if we really want to follow through with them. But as long as your practice feels fun and fulfilling, why overcomplicate things just for the sake of it? If you're painting to have fun and to enjoy the process, go and enjoy your practice and don't feel guilty about it. Checking back in with your purpose is really going to clear up the reason why it's worth it for you to try new things and even potentially fail a little bit at first, because at the end of the day, it's all part of something bigger. So remind yourself often, what is that draws you to painting? Do you want to create beautiful things and put them out into the world? Do you want to bring more joy and mindfulness into your life? Or maybe you want to push the limits and become the best artist you can be. Whatever your reason might be, repeat it to yourself and use it to drive you forward when you come across any new challenges. Of course, if you're passionate about improving your painting skills and maybe even becoming a professional artist one day, you're probably going to need a painting practice that challenges you enough to see gradual improvements. Because that's going to motivate you to keep going and just to keep going when things get tough. When I was writing my book, No Fail Watercolor, I was on a deadline, so I had no choice but to practice every single day for hours, trying out different projects and trying out different things and perfect my technique that I was teaching. I painted more than I've ever painted in my life. It just felt like so much. I even dreamed in watercolor, but I've also never improved faster. I got so much better at painting. I felt like I could start the whole thing over and just write another book just based on what I just learned. There's honestly no better feeling than overcoming a challenge, especially if it's been bugging you for a while. Which brings me to the final question you might want to ask yourself if you're just feeling stuck in your comfort zone. Am I giving up too soon? When I ran my watercolor retreat, there were a couple of students who really just joined because they wanted a challenge. They wanted to challenge themselves to make painting a habit and try something a little bit more challenging than their usual practice. And at the beginning, they feel like maybe the paintings are way out of their skill level, but they still want to just give them a shot anyway. But as soon as they start seeing all the messy stages of the painting and their work isn't really living up to their expectations, they feel like giving up and they wonder why they even bothered trying it all. But since everybody in the group is so supportive and encourages them to keep going and follow through with the painting, they decide to push through those messy and ugly stages. And in the end, they really end up surprising themselves because the painting turns out better than they could have imagined. Suddenly they feel a lot more confident and capable in their skills, and they want to move on to even more challenging pieces. And they couldn't believe that just a few days before, or even just a few hours before, they were so close to quitting. It just goes to show that we have to be really patient with ourselves whenever we try new things and trust that it's okay if things don't look perfect straight away. We need to just push through all these ugly stages. You can probably think of a project that you abandoned midway or decided to start over when it seemed too difficult. It's totally normal, and I think we've all done that. It's a lot easier to quit early and take the easy way out than to stick with it, but if we just keep going and give ourselves a chance to improve, we always end up feeling super proud of ourselves for giving it a shot, no matter what the end result might look like. I know it's hard, but we've got to accept that it takes more than one try to get good at something. Yeah, a shocker, I know. There's no use in telling yourself that you're not good enough or talented enough to do something when you haven't even given yourself time to practice. Being bad at something actually challenges you to think outside the box, figure out solutions to the problems you're facing, and evolve your skills so much faster. So if you think about it, making mistakes is actually pretty good for you. A lot of people think of learning as something that takes time out of their schedule, but I much prefer to see it as an investment than a cost. We invest money into better art supplies, so we end up with better quality paintings. So why should we look at time differently? If you commit to the learning process and invest time into your practice, you're not losing time, you're actually gaining skills. There's so much value in giving ourselves the chance to mess up and not be perfect all the time. It feels so much better to stop overthinking the details, go with the flow, and commit to the journey ahead of us. So next time you feel like giving up on a new project or calling it quits on a challenge, try to keep going with it and see what you come up with. You might surprise yourself. Okay, so if you couldn't tell by now, I'm a big fan of reframing negative beliefs into positive and empowering ones. I truly believe we have the power to change our reality by working on our mindset and all the stories we keep telling ourselves. The way you're currently feeling about your art is just a story you've been telling yourself for years. So why not start telling yourself a new one and see what happens? I've created a free worksheet for you with prompts and positive affirmations that will help you to figure out some of the limiting beliefs you might be having around art and creativity and how to reframe them. You can download it for free through the link in the description box down below. I really hope these affirmations will help you feel more confident and empowered in your artistic journey and remind you of everything you're capable of creating, especially when you're faced with a challenge. You can definitely do this mindset work by yourself, but sometimes it also helps to have somebody else that gives us a push in the right direction. That's why I always talk about the value of sharing your work with a trusted friend or with a community of like-minded people. When things get tough and it feels really tempting to get back into your comfort zone, they'll give you the positive feedback you need to just keep going and not to give up. So if you're interested in a super positive community and starting a new creative challenge, I'm super excited to say that I will bringing back my watercolor retreat in August this year. If you'd like to get on the waitlist for that, I'll leave the link in the description box as well. So just to sum things up, next time you feel like your comfort zone is calling out to you, but you really want to improve your skills, ask yourself these 3 questions. What will my inner child do? What is my purpose when it comes to painting? And am I giving up too soon? Most importantly, remember to just keep on painting and have fun with it, because when you truly enjoy the process of creating, you'll always feel inspired to push yourself further without even trying. And if you've been feeling a little bit uninspired lately and you feel like you've lost that spark for your craft, make sure you subscribe to my channel so you can catch my next video where I'll be sharing some more really helpful tips for getting out of your artist block and making inspiration a habit instead of a once in a blue moon kind of thing. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!